Hi, I'm Marky.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is the Happy Everly After podcast. And welcome back to the Happy Everly After podcast. I have done an intro probably 17 times now because I feel like I'm rusty and I keep going blah, 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 like 17,000 times. And it's just bugging, but this is the last time because I'm just going to talk and it's going to be fine. But for some reason, I'm like nervous. I don't know. I haven't talked to you guys in a long time. It's been a couple months and it was a nice break. I needed the break for sure. The holidays were nuts, but we make them that way. So like, I'm not complaining, right? Life is good. We celebrated Everly's birthday. We mourned the anniversary of her death. All of that has happened since we've recorded a podcast. So just a lot. Like it's just been a lot. It's always a really heavy time of year, but also like so fun and so magical. And it really has been great. And I feel like our goal is to just make it magical for our kids, right? That's our goal. And I feel like we did that. Does anyone else struggle with like, how do we not spoil our kids rotten, but also making it magical for them and giving them everything we didn't have when we grew up? Like that balance is impossible. Am I right? It is so hard because I'm like, one day I'm like, oh my gosh, my kids are so entitled. They're the biggest brats. They're really not. My kids are great. But I'm like, how do I show them that like life is hard and you need to learn these things while also protecting them like my little baby birds and not wanting them to feel an ounce of sadness ever? Like it's impossible. So that sums up our Christmas, basically. It was great though. 2024, I'm kind of just going to wrap it up and talk about my year personally and all of the pros and cons. And I'm not going to lie, 2024 was a great year for me. Like, great. And I think it's because I had zero expectations as far as growing our family. Like that's something that hangs over me, I feel like all the time. But our surrogate that we hired, we've interviewed her on the podcast. You can go back and find that episode. But she was pregnant with another family's baby this year. And that was actually like kind of nice because it took growing our family just off the table. Like we're not ready yet. We still need to save money. We want to travel a lot. And like emotionally, I needed a break. So it was so nice to just not have that over me in 2024. Don't ask me about this year. We'll get into that. So that was really nice. We just totally embraced life this year. I say we as in me and Drew and the family. And like we booked the trips, y'all. Like we traveled so much this year and we saw things that were on our bucket list. And oh man, I just feel so grateful that I have this life. Like I really do. I know that's so cheesy. I think I like this little life. Yeah. So this year was really fun. I'm going to kind of do a recap of all of the things we did and all of the places we went because I think that would be kind of interesting. And then I actually asked on my social media today what topics y'all want me to touch base on in the future. A lot of the podcast episodes might just be me sitting here just jibber jabbering, you know? And I hope that's okay because the community that we built around Everly's page and this podcast has quite literally saved me mentally and emotionally. So I just love you guys. Anyways, we won't go that deep. I don't really care to go that deep just because I feel like I'm recovering from a really heavy season in life with all of the anniversaries and all of the birthdays and stuff. So let's go for it. January, I wrote notes, y'all, because that's how crazy our year was, and it was so fun. So, in January, we always go on a cruise with Drew's work. And some might say, oh, Marky and Drew like travel so much, they leave their kids all the time. Yeah, we do. We leave our kids probably more than the average person does. But we love traveling, and we're kind of getting to the phase where we'll bring the kids with us and we'll bring a nanny with us if it's going to be like an adult thing. But like when your kids are small, it's not just like that's double the money, double the work. Like it just changes the trip, right? So you're right. The last couple years, it has been easier to just book a trip, know that we have the nanny that loves our kids like her own, and it helps her out financially. Our kids love it because a break from your parents is fun, right? And anyways, it's worked out. I don't want to like go into that and the shame that we got this last year for traveling too much, because we did. But anyways, so every year in January, Drew's corporate work does a cruise, and we try to go on those. We took a break for a minute in our baby making years, but we started going on them again like a couple years ago, and they're so fun. And this year we're taking our kids, so that'll be fun. The cruise in January of 2024 went to Haiti. No shame on Haiti. Zero shame. It had nothing to do with Haiti. But I got a ring stolen out of my it wasn't my wedding ring, thank goodness, which I need to put on. I just got back from the gym. But it was a diamond band that Drew got me for Christmas like 2 years ago or something, and it's gone. It's stolen. It was gone. I lost it on the ship somewhere. I say I lost it on the ship somewhere, but no, I know it was taken out of my bag. I know it was. Story for a different day. Okay, the next trip we went on was in February, and that was in Cabo in Mexico, and that was another one of Drew's work trips, but that one is more for like the owners and managers. So like it's not everybody in the company. If you don't know, he works for a sales company, and you can like open a franchise of the sales company, and that's what Drew did. So Drew has a team of guys that, work for him, and it's his office, but it's a franchise of this bigger office, if that makes sense. So that bigger office does like an owner. Does it kind of sound like a pyramid scheme? Low key. Every company does, right? Low key, if you really look at it. Anyways, so we went to Cabo. Beautiful. Like such a fun trip. Such fun people. Loved it. I mean, it's Cabo. It's hot. It's just that dry heat by the ocean and just gorgeous. I love Mexico so much. Okay, in March, we took our boys to Vegas, which was so fun. We did like nights at the round table and like M&M World, and it was their like break, like their spring break, I guess. Is that right? So they had a couple days off school, so that's what we did for them, and it was so fun. Highly recommend. And I grew up an hour and a half away from Vegas, so that's like I grew up going to Vegas doing that exact thing when I was their age, so it was really, really fun. After that, Drew and I went to Belize on, you heard it first, on another work trip. We went to Belize. It was, I have no words. Belize is where I want to retire. I love it there so much. It was the most gorgeous place I've ever been. I felt so safe. It was so warm. The food was so good. The company was amazing. It was another work thing, but remember how I was talking about like the different franchises? It was with another franchise, but Drew had invested in that franchise, if that makes sense. And so technically we were like low key part of that franchise a little bit. So when this trip came up, I was like, heck yeah, let's freaking go. And it was beautiful. You guys, Belize is like, people don't drive cars, they drive golf carts. The doors are like, I'm 5'2". The doors are maybe 5'2" or 5'3". Everything is like small in the little city. OMG. Okay, and then we like hired this like fisherman guy who took us out on a boat, and like our friend like spear fished. Is that how I say that? And they like caught a fish, and then the people on the boat would straight up make like ceviche out of that fish. It was like fresh and yummy, and just, it was like out of a movie. I can't even tell you. I may or may not have swam through an underground cave. I went 20 feet deep. No one else did it. There was maybe 14, 16 people on that boat. I am the only one who saw that captain guy. He goes, watch this, while we're snorkeling, right? And he's like, watch this. And he goes down 20 feet and he goes in an underwater cave and he pushes through and then comes up. And I was like, I'm freaking doing it. No one else did it. I had to do it. So I have a video of that. Maybe I'll post it. Thank goodness one of our friends, Sam, got that on film, because that's like my claim to fame. But you guys should also know that because of all my trauma and Everly passing away and like just my spirituality changing the last couple of years, everything, I am such a YOLO person where I'm like, book the trip, go down 20 feet, pop your ears and go in that water cave. Like I am low key so impulsive. And poor Drew, right? We can all agree. Poor Drew. Anyways, Belize, amazing. I can't even tell you. All right, April. You think that it doesn't get better? April, we went to Greece. Mic drop. We went to Greece. April was mine and Drew's 10-year anniversary, and we wanted to go hard for it. And on top of that, our best friends, they were like, hey, do you care if we go to Greece with you and we can low-key elope there? And we were like, hell yeah. And so it ended up being us and then our best friends that came with us, and they eloped, and then some of their best friends who now we're close with because we've traveled, across the world with them. It was so magical. It's still on my bucket list. I literally tell people, I'm like, you cannot go to Greece once. Like all right, I'll live there. Cool. You twisted my arm. It is even more beautiful in person than you can even imagine. So many tears were shed, happy tears, of course. So much food was eaten, so many memories. Just, I'm just so grateful. I really am. Like, it's so cheesy, but I am so grateful that I was able to experience that. And because our best friends, Whitney and John, because they were getting married while we were there, I feel like it was even more bougie than what Drew and I would have done if it was just me and him. You know what I mean? Like, it was just so, like, I don't know if fancy is the right word. It was just so rich and abundant. I don't know. Sorry for my weird words. Greece was amazing. Everyone needs to go there. I'll go with you. please invite me. And even though I've already been, it's still on my bucket list. So high fives. Let's see. Greece was April. So in May, I got surgery. I got my mommy makeover. I had to do a couple revisions. I'll maybe talk about that in a different podcast, but I think that you see like people getting their mommy makeover, their boob job or tummy tuck or whatever it is. You see that the befores and afters. And I think that a lot of people don't show you the middle and how, like it's actually been a journey. It's been a lot. And my first surgery was in May. I had another surgery just barely in November. And I still am not quite there with my results. But again, we'll talk about that at a later time. May, I got my surgery. June and July, we did a couple trips to St. George. That's where I'm from. We took the boys, obviously, and we did that earlier in the year too, but we take the boys to St. George. We try to a lot because that's where all of their cousins are, most of their cousins. And we love it. We love to visit, obviously. Let's see. August, we went to Mexico City. So that one was a little different. We went from like a Wednesday to Sunday. It was like a long weekend, but we went with our friends and there was like a business opportunity there. And so we wanted to like see it with our own eyes. And so it was so different from like Mexico as I know it. Like I just know Mexico as the beach and hot and tropical and food and swimsuits. No, this was not like that, but it was amazing. We went to this place called San Miguel, which is a couple hours outside of Mexico City, and that was stunning. I've never seen anything like it. The culture was beautiful. Apparently the San Miguel, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it's like very, very wealthy. If you are from Mexico and you can like vacation there, then you've made it type of a thing because everything's a little bit cheaper in Mexico, right? So San Miguel was beautiful and just the culture was amazing. People were so nice. Like I'll just remember the people were so nice and so giving. And it was beautiful. Like the churches and the little like market and city, like the cobblestone streets and the houses were just luxurious. And we stayed in a hotel that looked over like the church and had like a pool, like a rooftop pool. And I literally would like wake up and drink my little coffee while looking at the church and sitting by the pool. Like it was stunning. So that was really, really cool. We'll go back there for sure. Absolutely. We'll go back there because that was kind of an easy trip. Like I want to say the flight was from Salt Lake was maybe like 3 hours or something. I don't know. I could be making that up. Okay. September, we went to Kentucky, which doesn't sound very luxurious, but it was. We went for a wedding. The family so Everly has gotten me in touch with people online, right? And some of those online relationships have become in-person relationships, and this is one of them. So this family, they have a little boy named Finn, and he passed away of heart problems. And I have pictures with Finn and Urban, and Finn would call Urban Bourbon, which is the cutest thing I've ever heard. I miss him. I could get emotional talking about him because he was just a light in this world, and definitely gone too soon. And I don't always understand God's plan. So I'll just say that. So Finn's older sister got married, and we were so lucky enough to be invited to her wedding. So Drew and I went for 3 days or something to Kentucky, and that was so fun. I love it there. I would move there tomorrow. Legit, I would. Like you guys, I don't know what you guys are used to, but in Kentucky, like the houses are all like a mile apart, and in that mile is like pastures. pastures of freaking horses. Like, we don't see that here in Utah. It probably used to be like that in Utah, but definitely not now. It's so saturated. So Kentucky was beautiful. That was such a beautiful wedding, such a fun night. It's by far the funnest wedding I've ever been to. I stand on that. By far the funnest wedding I've ever been to was their wedding in Kentucky. So love you, Collier fam. Okay, and then after that, in August, we took the boys on a cruise to Cabo. I found this deal. You guys, do you know that if you buy your cruises last minute, that you can get your cruise so cheap? I found a deal at like 3 a.m. because I don't sleep ever. I found a deal on a cruise that was like, if you leave this day at this time, we'll give you this cruise and kids cruise for free. So I'm like, what? So I click on it. Literally, for Drew and I, it was like $900 or something each for me and Drew. But then add kids because kids travel free. So like there's fees and like all that adds up, right? But cheap. Like that is a really good deal. It was a 7-day cruise. That was the boys' first cruise and they loved it. They thrived. They loved the ice cream and the hot tubs. Drew and I had so much fun, like just experiencing that with them and them just like their mind just being blown that they're like riding down a water slide in the middle of the ocean. Like that's crazy. So fun. 10 out of 10 recommend. So we did that in August. And then in November, I got another surgery. Again, I'll talk about that at a different time. And then in December, I did another thing, and this was just me. I'm so grateful Drew is so supportive of me. But I have, again, a social media bestie. Her name's Cassidy Bingham. I'm sure you guys know her. She is quite literally one of the greatest humans on earth. She is so inspiring. She's been through so much. She is so kind, so nice. She's really just that good of a person. I can't even explain it. She's just that good of a person that me and her like have built this friendship on social media the last couple years. And we finally, like, I'm the yes friend, obviously. I'm like, YOLO, book the trip. Let's freaking go. But when me and her started talking about like meeting in person and going on a trip and like doing something, I remember Drew being like, that's so weird. Like, what? You're meeting a stranger? You're going on a trip with a stranger? And I'm like, literally, she's not. We Marco Polo every day. I love her like a sister. Like, we've been through similar things and I feel like we mourn similarly. And so she lost a child. His name's Milo, and he is perfect. He is perfect. But point of the story is Everly and Milo 1000% brought me and her together. Like, I believe that with my whole heart. And I'm just so grateful for her. Anyways, me and her decided to book a trip. And we were like, where should we go? Should we go to a Lainey concert? Because we both love Lainey. Should we go to Europe? Should we go to Florida? I was like, girl, you need to come to Mexico with me. It's great. And she's like, I'm more like a city person. And I was like, all right, let's freaking go. We talked about doing like Salem in October. We talked, because we both love Halloween. We talked about, a bunch of different places, but we ended up landing on Aspen, Colorado. I'm talking about a little place called Aspen. Name that movie. It was amazing. Again, one of those places that I have to go again. So I was still recovering from my surgery, but next time I go, I'm going to ski. The city literally like you can walk from Main Street. So we stayed in a hotel that was like on top of shops. So picture Friends and like the coffee shop, right? Picture an apartment complex above that coffee shop. That's kind of how our hotel was. Like we literally walked up the stairs to get to our room, and it was just beautiful and magical, and I need to post about it. But it was in December, so the lights were everywhere. Just the restaurants and the people. And when you picture Aspen and you picture like, it's so expensive, it's so bougie. Yeah, sure. But people were like walking around in their ski outfit all day. Like we fit in perfect. Like we were nervous that we wouldn't like, it's like, what do you pack? What do you wear? We fit in perfect. All walks of life are in Aspen because everybody just goes there to ski and look at celebrities, which is low-key what we wanted to do. Apparently, we went 1 week too early. Everyone told us that the next week was their busy week. So if you like, have you guys heard of Kimosabi? So that's like where you can go get like a hat, like a cowboy hat or boots or whatever. And they're really expensive and they're so nice and worth it. Kimosabi is on like a lot of the Real Housewives series. They love Kimosabis. There's one in Aspen, there's one in Park City. That's all. But I want to say there's only like 4 or 5 Kimosabis. So we went there, and like the guy there that was helping, because I got a hat. I'm like, this is once in a lifetime. Like I have to get a hat at Kimosabi while I'm in Aspen. And so the guy helping me and Cassidy, he was like, oh, you missed the rush. The rush is next week. And there'll be a line out the door, and we'll have to like put a rope up to like stop people from like just walking in the store. So we got really, really lucky. And also we went to Kimosabi 3 out of the 3 days we were there for different stuff. I got a hat the first time. Cassidy got a keychain for her husband that says the number 23 on it, because that's her Milo like number. And then the next day I went back to get Drew a pair of cowboy boots, which are dope AF. So point of the story is Aspen was amazing, and I didn't buy a new Louis Vuitton purse. So I count that as a win. I just bought a Kimosabi hat, which is a lot cheaper than a LV purse, right? So anyways, dang, 2024 was amazing. I could cry. I thrived. I thrived last year. This year, 2025, me and the boys and Drew obviously are going on the same cruise that his work does every January, but this time we're taking the boys. I think the last couple of years we like didn't know if that was an option, but now it's like, okay, let's make it an option. So anyways, now that we know that that's an option, we're taking the boys on another cruise. It was so fun. Christmas was fun because we got them like one of those little carry-on suitcases with like a scooter on it. So they're stoked. I don't know why I go to the airport with my kids and I think that my kids should be on wheels. I don't know why I did that, but they loved it and they're excited and it's going to be great. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing good. I freaking miss you and I miss this community and I'm so grateful for it. And now that it's a new year, kids are back in school, I feel like I'll be more consistent. What guests do you want to see on here? What topics do you want me to talk about? Nothing's off the board. I'm pretty open, especially on here, because on here, you guys are a smaller community than Everly's page. So I feel like you guys are just, you get it, right? Like you just get it. So anyways, that is all. Thank you so much for listening. I love you. And let's just have the best 2025 ever. It's going to be great, filled with travel and or not, like if that's not your thing, but it's going to be filled with love and abundance and so much freaking money, you won't even know what to do with it. And I'm manifesting that for you and for me. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.